Hello and welcome back to another week in new genre books. My name is Amelia and from Locus magazine, I'm about to tell you the top new science fiction, fantasy, and horror books being published the week of August 8th, 2023. I've got links for timing if you want to skip to your favorite category, be it science fiction, fantasy, or horror. Let's talk about all the new books. Starting with science fiction books this week, we have 3 science fiction titles being published. From Saintcrow, we have The Free People's Village, out from Levine Querido in hardcover and ebook. This is an alternate history SF novel. In this alternate 2020 timeline, Al Gore won the 2000 election and declared a war on climate change rather than a war on terror. Let's just appreciate that for a second, because the way the math of the universe works out, most of the matter that seems to be tying the universe together must be invisible in my cursory understanding of how we reconcile the visible stuff in the universe like planets and stars and stuff, and also gravity and all the other forces, plus the way the universe is just pretty darn empty of stuff, which means that there's probably more stuff somewhere for there to be a universe. And so why wouldn't there be alternate worlds? And why wouldn't those worlds be a little like ours? It's not the weirdest idea, if alternate worlds or whatever might account for some of the missing matter that mathematically should exist. Anyway, for 20 years in this story, Democrats have controlled all 3 branches of government. They've got all the carbon-cutting schemes and green infrastructure and carbon taxes on financial transactions. Maddie Ryan is an English teacher and a rhythm guitarist in a queer punk band in Houston's 8th Ward. When Maddie learns that the 8th Ward is to be sacrificed for a new electromagnetic hyperway out to the wealthy white suburbs, she joins Save the 8th, a Black-led organizing movement fighting for the neighborhood. From Honey Watson, we saw Lessons in Birdwatching, out from Angry Robot UK in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is an SF novel about a planet suffering from a time distortion plague where a murder starts a civil war. During their temporary research post on Habeck, a planet ravaged by a time-distorting illness. Look, I have questions too, like what sort of time-distorting illness, because a lot of us remember getting sick as children and finding comfort in fantasy and sci-fi novels, but I don't think that's what we're talking about with this sort of time-distorting illness. Anyway, Wilhelmina Ming and 4 other elite students of the Christian Empire are resorting to psychedelic antidepressants and group sex to take the edge off. Life is rough there. After a night of indulgence following a gruesome execution, they wake to find an oblique warning in the form of an impaled corpse dangling from the exterior of their residence. From Anne Christy, we have The Never-Ending End of the World, out from Campfire in hardcover paperback at ebook and audio. This is a post-apocalyptic SF novel. All of Manhattan is reliving time on loops of varying lengths, except for Coco, who avoids the dangerous loopers as she struggles to survive. Next up, horror, we have 3 titles this week. From Nick Cutter and Andrew F. Sullivan, we have The Handyman Method, out from Saga Press in trade paperback, hardcover, and ebook. This is a horror novel mixing elements of self-doubt, family dysfunction, a possibly haunted new house, and a mysterious online DIY instructor making dark subliminal suggestions, which I suppose if you're gonna go for subliminal suggestions, they probably should be nefarious, and I think morally any subliminal suggestion is sort of nefarious, even if the content was to say something like, please wear your seatbelt, or say please and thank you. From Kirsten White, we have Mr. Magic, out from Del Rey in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a supernatural thriller novel. Former child stars reunite to learn about the tragedy that ended their show and the secret of its host. Mallory O'Meara, author of The Lady from the Black Lagoon, said, "It meets the Stepford Wives in this wildly compelling story that explores whether it's possible to recapture the magic of childhood." From Steph Nelson, we have The Vein, out from Dark Matter Inc. in trade paperback and ebook. This is a supernatural horror novel with elements of mystery set in a fictional silver mining town in North Idaho. Next up, fantasy, we have 10 titles this week. From Wole Talabi, we have Shigidi and the Brass Head of Obulafan, out from Daw in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a contemporary fantasy novel and a debut novel from the notable short fiction author and anthology editor. From the review in Locus by Gary K. Wolfe, we first meet Shigidi and Neoma as they are fleeing through the streets of London in a wildly veering black cab pursued by a furious demon in a chariot pulled by 4 bronze horses. A few days earlier, they had met with Oluron, the chief Yoruba deity and chairman of the board of the Spirit Company, who gave them the task of retrieving a powerful amulet from the British Museum, the brass head of Obulafon, the legendary Yoruba leader. The idea of stealing an African artifact back from a museum which had plundered it in the first place is appealing. But the head is protected not only by the usual security, but by complex spells woven by the Royal British Spirit Bureau, and Shigidi and Neilma find themselves needing the help of some unusual allies. So while the contemporary plot is essentially a supernatural heist caper overlaid with a developing and pretty hot romance between the two principals, the events leading up to this take us from London to Malaysia, Nigeria, Algeria, Singapore, Ethiopia, and various spirit realms, and range over more than a century. From Kevin J. Anderson, we saw Skeleton in the Closet, out from Wordfire Press in trade paperback, hardcover, and ebook. This is a humorous fantasy novel about a motley crew of medieval con artists. Former scamp Cullen and his merry band of confidence men and one liberated princess travel and pull off one scam after another, concocting their own heroic deeds, preparing mock dragon heads, or selling kraken tusks and mermaid scales. From Stephanie Burgis, we have The Raven Throne, out from Bloomsbury, USA, in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a middle-grade fantasy novel, the second in a series begun in The Raven Heir. When their triplet sister became the Raven Queen, Giles and Rosalind knew they would have to learn to behave at court. For Rosalind, no more fighting. For Giles, no more loud singing. But when their sister Cordelia falls into an enchanted sleep and can't be woken, Rosalind and Giles must quest across the kingdom to seek help from ancient spirits. From the New York Times bestselling author D.J. Molles, we saw A Harvest of Ash and Bone, out from Blackstone Publishing in hardcover, ebook, trade paperback, and audio. This is an epic fantasy novel. The Brionic Empire is powered by the ashes of those with magical abilities after they are burned to death. From Lauren J.A. Baer, we have Medusa's Sisters, a debut out from Ace in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a mythological fantasy novel retelling the story of Medusa and her family. Curious about mortals and their lives, Medusa and her sisters enter the human world in search of a place to belong, yet quickly find themselves at the center of a dangerous Olympian rivalry. From Rachelle Nelson, we have Sky of Seven Colors, out from Enclave Escape in hardcover and ebook. This is a young adult fantasy novel. Meg winds up in a gray other earth, void of any color, after seeking to heal her best friend. From Ehigbor Okosun, we have Forged by Blood, out from Harper Voyager US in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a fantasy novel first in the Tainted by Blood duology. Debut author Ehigbor Okosun's first book is inspired by Nigerian mythology, full of magic and emotion, and set in an atmospheric, complex world in which a young woman fights to survive a tyrannical society and seeks vengeance for her mother's murder and the spilled blood of her people. From Lilith Saintcrow, we have The Salt Black Tree, out from Tor in hardcover, trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a contemporary fantasy novel inspired by Russian folklore, the second in the duology, The Dead God's Heart. Nat Drozdova has crossed half the continent in search of the stolen dead god's heart, the only thing powerful enough to trade for her beautiful, voracious, dying mother's life. Yet now she knows the secret of her own birth, and that she's been lied to. From Sabrina Blackburry, we have Dirty Lying Dragons, out from W by Wattpad in hardcover and ebook. This is a paranormal romance novel, the second in the Enchanted Fates series. From the author of Dirty Lying Fates, this book is about a young witch who finds herself on the run for her life, and in the company of a centuries-old dragon who may or may not be able to help. From Emily Habeck, we have Shark Heart, out from Mariso Rucci Books in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a fantasy romance novel. Newlywed Wren has to face her fears when her husband Lewis turns into a great white shark over 9 months, with all a predator's impulses, but he still has his memories, his intellect, and the heart of an artist. This is a debut novel. That wraps up this week. Thanks for spending some time with us. Please hit all the buttons below. It helps us out a lot. If you can like and subscribe and turn notifications on. Locus is made of people, and people need people. Locus Magazine and this YouTube channel are a labor of love. We are at Locus Mag or at Locus Magazine on most platforms. You can read more about the science fiction, fantasy, and horror field over at www.locusmag.com or support us on our Patreon. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Come back and see us again soon, and we'll be here next week with more new books.